Hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 239 for July 19th, 2017. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host for the evening, but luckily for me, and luckily for you, I'm not alone. No, indeed, two of my most trusted companions, and we may even have a special call-in cameo. More about that later. Let's talk about the people who have showed up. My man in blue. You know what? I just thought about this. I'm surrounded by Canadians in this show. It's me in Canada. I didn't realize that. I've got the host.
Well, no, I grew up in Canada, but I live in America now.
Okay, I'm sorry, Paul. You're yes, but still,
Paul's a citizen of the world.
I had a little anxiety there. I mean,
I know a lot about Canada for an American.
There you go. Yeah. People don't say Toonie to you and go. So
or Chesterfield.
Let's try Chesterfield. Yeah, like I did. I don't know. Look at that. The man in brown, the man in khaki there talking. He's our man in Boulder, Colorado at BoulderHC.com, Boulder Hybrids, Mr. Paul Griese.
Yes, I'm here, and sorry to cut you off, Mark. You never got your introduction.
You'll get an introduction.
All right.
I'm not going to forget Mark, but that's Paul. And then the other gentleman, the quiet, the polite Canadian here.
Did someone say Toonie?
Oh!
Is that one of the glow-in-the-dark ones?
It's not the glow-in-the-dark one, but it's got that pattern on it. So I'm still waiting to get a glow-in-the-dark one. But you guys will be the first to know when I strike that one.
Yeah.
You have to go to Tim Hortons more often.
Yeah, exactly. I'm buying a lot of coffee. A lot of coffee.
You know, and some Timbits, right?
Of course.
I'm sorry, I'm a Timbit fan. So, yeah, we have a fun show for you this week. Lots of cool stuff to talk about. Let's get that show on the road. Want to start off with a little thing that Patrick Connor calls Russell's rant, because I get to get all ranty, and you know how much I love that if you've seen the show. Green Car Reports, my friend John Volker, who is actually my friend and a good guy, wrote a story. The headline is, and I quote, "Why all electric car owners should follow Formula E racing." And John lays out in a dozen paragraphs or so why he thinks it's important to follow racing. And this is one of those arguments where there's no mathematical way to prove this. This is strictly subjective. This is John saying he likes chocolate and me saying I like vanilla. But I think John is wrong in every particular. And I'll explain it. And forgive me for laying out John's case for him. If he were here, he'd do it himself. But basically, John's point is the old trope, what I think is a trope about racing, which is car companies use racing to develop new technology, which eventually gets deployed in regular cars. To which I would say, yeah, maybe so. But I think they could do it much more cost effectively in some other venue than motor racing. I think the real reason why car companies love motor racing is they love cars and they love racing. And God bless them for that, right? Because that's what they're in the business of. The problem is the executives who support this and make these decisions and pump millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars into, especially like Formula One, or in this case, Formula E racing, it's very arguable that we could get that same technology from research and development and from driving on small tracks. We don't have to go out and advertise and spend the millions that they do to develop this stuff. It could be done at home. It doesn't have to be done in Monaco, for instance, or Rio de Janeiro or Long Beach. All wonderful destinations for people in private jets to go to. But again, that goes to the cost of the vehicle that I'm buying.
Do you think we'll ever see a NASCAR E?
That's an interesting question, because
that would wake up a lot of people.
The natural answer would be, sure, we would. But I also think that NASCAR's probably invested, and there's probably some companies that are also invested in keeping it gas burning as long as possible. And I
Do you think that big oil is involved in this?
I'm sorry, I don't even know what big oil is. So, I mean, hey, cheers to my friend John. We disagree about all kinds of things. And John is a very smart guy. He lays out his case very well. I encourage you to go to Green Car Reports and read it. And then leave a comment and tell John why he's wrong and why I'm right. Because I do think that and again, you know what? I don't think that there's nothing wrong with Formula E per se. And there's nothing wrong with racing. But I'd rather see people racing like 20 identical cars.
Well, or if you think about, like you said, the money to put a Formula E car in the track, they could put ride and drives of consumer cars in half the shopping centers in America and let the general public experience a real EV that they could actually buy, which is probably better use of their marketing money than, like you said, racing around Monaco in a car that no one can buy.
Right, but nobody wants to go to the Naperville Mall.
Right.
No executives are going to,
right.
Jet into the Naperville Mall.
Right.
And drink champagne. They're going to do that in Monaco, though. They're going to do that in a big-ass way in Monaco. Yeah. But it's not going to happen.
So you're saying there may be some alternative motives, not just that they're promoting the build-out of cars. This is a place where the corporate jet can be used in its full splendor.
And schmooze and wine and dine and party and get away from the office and the
absolutely. And have a great time and blow a whole bunch of expense money. Look, I'm not just saying that this is about like greedy fat cats, but that's part of it. That's a big part of it is car company executives like to be spoiled. And guess what they get to be spoiled at? These big motor racing events. They have nice suites. They hang out. They have lavish parties. I've been to them at the Long Beach Grand Prix. Let me tell you, the prawn section at the Long Beach Grand Prix is okay, because it is amazing. I went for a few years in a row, and it's a night. You're well taken care of. Yeah, you're very well taken care of. You do not leave hungry or sober, by the way. So, it's. I don't begrudge anyone fun, but like I said, for me, I'd rather see 20 people racing an identical vehicle because they're going to mix it up. They're going to drive. It's going to be more about their skill than it's going to be about who spent $1 more million on this weird little thing.
Right.
And maybe has an edge. You know what I mean? Like
or maybe they could spend the money on dealer training to educate their salespeople on how to sell these cars.
Now you've gone too far, mister.
Where is the prong in that?
Where's the executive suite? Like, nobody wants to educate dealers. That's just a horrifying thought. Then they'll want food, and I shouldn't.
Well, you could bring prawns to the sales meeting and give them free prawns. They learn about the Bolts and the Teslas. And
what's this thing? What do you do with that? Yeah. Funny how I went into that accent, isn't it?
I wasn't going to mention that at all.
Let's
the Alabama accent.
Let's just ignore that for the moment. I'm not gone yet. Wow. Next story. Speaking of executives, we talk a lot about Tesla, and we've certainly talked about Solar City as well. Tesla's been touting their new Tesla solar roof project, and one of there were two people that founded Solar City, Lyndon Rive and Peter Rive. Lyndon left last month, and Peter, the two co-founders of Solar City, is leaving now. I want to say this is news. It's kind of news. It's kind of not. They were bought out. They've taken a thing. They probably had something that says you're going to stay for 30 days or something and help us with the transition. And then, I'm sure that the people at Tesla are just fine that they don't have any leftovers from Solar City running the place.
Yep. And off they go into the golden parachute.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure both Lyndon and Peter did very, very well. Unless they're idiots, and I don't think they're idiots. So
I wonder where they'll resurface and how long before they can.
That's the interesting question, right? Like, do you like?
I'm sure they have a non-compete.
Well, It's not legal in California.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if Solar City is a California company. That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Probably a Delaware company.
Yeah, right. Who isn't in Delaware? Thank you for your generous corporate structuring laws.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't say. But yeah, I mean, who knows? It'd be cool if they came. You know what? Come up and compete with Tesla now. You know what I mean? Force them to be better.
I don't think that they're going to compete with Elon.
Yeah.
I really would. I would doubt that.
I would tend to agree with you.
Yeah. But, maybe they can go into something completely different. I don't know what. Batteries, solar, cars, buses, trucks, they're all covered now. So I don't know what they could pop into. Autonomous, that's covered.
Nice. I have Tony Schaefer texting me during the show that he can't make with the show title. That's actually very good.
Hey, I got a hot off the presses story here.
Why don't you tell us about that, Paul?
So it just came to me seconds ago via Twitter. The next generation Nissan Leaf will have e-pedal technology. And it's actually something we've talked about on the show. But basically it is aggressive regen built into the gas pedal. So you can turn this feature on, and instead of using the brake pedal, you simply take your foot off the gas pedal. And it says 90% of your driving will be done with one foot, or one pedal, I guess. Still use one. So that's kind of cool, because especially, it doesn't say if it's adjustable, but if you can adjust the sensitivity of it and make it very aggressive, that would be pretty cool. Where you take your foot off and the car immediately screeches to a stop. And of course,
it locks up sideways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but of course, it's going to capture all that energy and put it back in the battery. So
right.
Which Tesla has that feature, kind of, pretty much. It's nice to see other people. Does the Volt have an aggressive e-pedal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the problem with it, though, Paul, is that it's not as efficient as someone that is using the regen selectively.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you're on the highway and you start to notice that the cars are slowing down, so you kind of let up on the gas, the regen, if it's aggressive, would start to slow the car down dramatically.
Right.
And you would never be able to recoup the same amount of energy that was expended to get up to that speed. If you have a very light regen or no regen, you can let your foot up on the accelerator and glide, and you get more efficiency from that than you would if it goes into maximum regen. So what Chevy does with both their Bolt and Volt is they give you now a regen paddle and steering wheel.
Ah, right.
So you can when you are going to stop or have to slow down dramatically, you can pull the regen and the car will slow down, and then you can let go to the paddle and you can glide. So that gives you butts to both worlds.
A good way to do it. Yeah.
And then you have that capability. They do also have a low setting, your common drive and low. If you throw it into low, it's like aggressive regen as soon as you let your foot off the accelerator.
Right.
So that's what they do. But I find the paddle is fantastic. Like it really allows me the ability to glide or stop and collect the energy through the regen as aggressively as I want.
Right.
I mean, that's like an advanced feature, right? The e-pedal is sort of the beginner. Like we're gonna control regen for you. If you're not pressing on the gas, we're going to assume that you want to slow down, and we're going to kind of do that.
And all of these little things, of course, make the car even more efficient and make the driver aware of what's going on, so they can be a more efficient driver. So I think all of these little enhancements that you can do with an electric vehicle or a plug-in hybrid are very cool. And it's nice to see the auto industry implementing them.
Yeah,
but you don't have to learn anything new. You could still drive it like a normal car if you choose to.
Right. Exactly. And that's the important part, that it works for either the advanced user who might be able to figure out how to feather the pedal just enough to get past that, or
squeeze
for the beginner who's just going to be gas brake, or,
And let's face it, most people just coming from a gas car, they need that first level just to start figuring it all out, because they don't have when you drive an EV, I find that you really start to understand what the energy is being used for and where it's being expended and where it can be saved. And before that point, I never noticed. I didn't notice at all. It was just gas and brake. But now, after 3 years, I'm certainly...
Although on cars like the Prius, which forever have had a MPG readout and efficiency graph, that helps the average person realize how much... I mean, I think there should be a law that all cars have an efficiency gauge. You know, so if you're driving your Escalade and you stomp on it, it shows you, hey, you just spent 50 cents to pass that guy. Was it really worth it? Because that would really make people better drivers.
Exactly.
Oh, he showed up.
It's a segue into Patrick Live.
Patrick
Hi,
Connor,
can you guys see me?
Mr. Alt
Absolutely.
Nerd.
I've got a really bad signal.
Okay.
We're on the road in LA, heading to San Diego for Comic-Con on the Ultimate Nerd Road Trip 2017. Got my buddy Scott here in the back. Yeah, Scott, there you go. And my friend. Hey.
Hey, I don't know if you can hear. I don't know if they can hear us, but
Good to see you're not driving, Patrick.
Yes.
yeah.
Especially since we normally have a beer during the show.
Oh.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very smart.
Yeah, the California Highway Patrol is going to want to know your location next.
Drinking and driving and recording. That's stupid, stupid, and stupid.
Yeah.
The ultimate test for the Tesla autonomous drive system. Oh, wait, you're in LA. You're only going 5 miles an hour.
This is true. Yeah. 5 would be going up 3 faster. 4.
There we go.
Yeah.
What highway are you sitting on?
We are on I-5. We're on the 5. Yeah. Or as they say in California, the 5. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not Interstate 5 like the rest of the country, but here.
Hey, go back to Oregon, buddy. Okay, go back to Oregon with that kind of talk.
Right.
So, how's the trip going, man? It's been fun watching you on Facebook.
Yeah, it has been fun. Mount Shasta is the only place we had to wait to get a charge, and hanging out with Scott last night. What city do you live in?
San Carlos.
San Carlos. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
And why do you think Mount Shasta was so busy? Any idea?
They only have four spots. That's the real problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas several of the others we were at have 12, 16 spots. So Mount Shasta needs some more there, Elon, if you're listening.
Hey, so Patrick, how much have you spent on fuel since you left Oregon?
Well, I bought some burritos, and that's made some gas. Does that count?
Yeah, but you can't use that to propel the car, at least not easily.
It can propel people out of the car.
It does have biohazard defense mode. That's been their saving grace.
Yeah, which would merely keep the smell in.
Yes. Yeah, keep burritos from the outside.
Filter.
Yeah.
Even inside the car, it'll clear it out. So yeah, it's all been supercharger, other than a few kilowatts from Scott's last night. So it's been free driving. Pretty cool. Other than the depreciation for 2,000 miles on a Tesla. That's probably costing me more than gas would have. But.
Which is about $6,000, right?
No, that's the Cadillac ELR.
I bought it to drive it, or to have my friends drive me in it. Which one or the other.
There you go. Yeah, I was just gonna say, how come they're driving you? I mean, what is you got some arrangement or something?
We're switching off at every supercharger.
Okay.
I just got lucky that the drive through LA I don't have to do, and that frees me up to call you guys. Total coincidence. Does
Tesla have some of the autopilot features? Like, could you just put on autopilot right now in this rush hour stuff?
Yes, I use it, and Patrick likes to drive. He's from. Oh, there we go. He just turned it on. If you heard it chime, okay. Just to prove he can. But he's from Michigan, where real men drive real cars.
American cars.
Does he have like a gallon of gas between his knees, just on general principle? Maybe not. I'm going to
No
guess.
comment. No comment.
Yeah,
He's not. Yeah.
Once again, the HEPA filter is taking care of that, so not a problem. Excellent. So you're going to arrive at San Diego tonight, I assume. Comic-Con starts when?
Tomorrow. Actually, there's an event tonight, but we didn't get picked for that because you had to be. We're noobs. We're Comic-Con noobs. So we didn't qualify for Wednesday night.
So you don't have the ultimate nerd status.
No, that'll be next year. Yeah. Even though we're on the Ultimate Nerd road trip. Yeah. This is to get our cred. Yeah.
Wow.
So next year we get there and do the Wednesday night thing.
And are you you know what, I have to ask, forgive me, just because I'm from San Diego, I'm moving back there. I mean, like, so you're staying near the convention center?
Not too far away. There's a light rail that they have there, and we're a few stops away on the light rail.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
More electric transportation.
Yeah, no, the coaster probably, I'm going to guess. You're staying somewhere too? Yeah, maybe in La Jolla. Okay. That's awesome, dude. Like I said, you can follow Patrick on Facebook.com. It's Ultimate Nerd Road Trip 2017, right?
Exactly. Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Follow him, and please don't make me be the only one who's smart-assing his every post. Okay?
Yes.
So do you have a costume? Are you dressing up as Wonder Woman or something?
How did you guess? Yes. We're gonna have Wonder Woman, She-Hulk, and the other Wonder Twin. The female one.
I'm sorry, who's going to be She-Hulk, just for the record?
Don't make me angry, Pat. Like when I'm angry.
He's already in role.
Yeah. Can I introduce you?
Into our Facebook page to find out.
There we go. Where you're going to commit right now on the show to having full photographs of all the cosplay that you're going to engage in.
Absolutely, yes. Yep. We'll see what we can find.
Yeah, Weasel, come on.
There will be plenty of interesting photos, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Well, dude.
I'll let you guys get on with your show.
Yeah.
No, please, Patrick. I mean, listen, drive safe, of course. And have a blast. I'm envious, but I'm not there yet. So.
And thanks for not contributing to the California smog problem.
Yes, every one of you Californians. I'm carrying off a little bit in my HEPA filter just for you.
Exactly. And at least there's more than one person in your car too. I mean, that's
carpooling and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Are you in the carpool lane?
No, I don't think it's possible to get over there. And it wouldn't matter.
Get there from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not going any faster. So here's one case where it would not help.
So you've seen a noticeable amount of EVs, I would assume, traveling down 5.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and there's, unlike in Oregon where you're often the only Tesla there's at least one or two here at every place we've stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the last one was the Tesla store and service center, so we got to go in there and chat with them, get some free water.
And now, didn't one of the former governors of California name I-5 the hydrogen highway? And how many hydrogen cars have you seen on your trip?
I've not seen any, and I have been looking, although we drove near a hydrogen fueling station, but we couldn't quite see it.
Because it was small and invisible, or
just like the molecule itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of hydrogen, I've got my own little announcement. I'm going to be driving the Mirai from August 11th through August 21st.
But how are you going to fuel it?
Burritos.
Toyota brings me my own unicorn.
So you get the Mirai and an 18-wheeler full of hydrogen.
Yeah. There's oddly enough, there's one hydrogen refueling station in San Diego, and I will have to drive down there to refuel it, assuming I use up the 500 some odd mile range the vehicle's supposed to have, which is unlikely.
500 some miles. That's really good.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Except if you drove 500 miles from San Diego, you'd have to tow it home.
Right,
There's
right.
nowhere.
Exactly, yeah. So,
Well, there's a station in LA, right?
Yeah, there's a few stations in LA.
Yeah.
There's a few. There's just one in San Diego, but I'm looking forward to it. I as much as I malign the vehicle, the concept of it.
The technology is great.
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
Fueling
to drive it.
infrastructure ain't.
Right, and that's the thing. My problem isn't with so much the vehicle; it's with the whole thing around it that doesn't make any damn sense.
Right. Yeah. There's a Mirai page on Facebook, and they were talking about how it has Mirai. Sorry, all this great storage room, and yeah, great. I'm glad it works for you.
Yeah.
You got to keep the unicorn feed somewhere.
Right.
So, well, dude, listen, seriously, have a fantastic time at Comic-Con, and when do you start back?
Next week on Monday, and then we're stopping at the Fremont to do the factory tour at Tesla on the way back. And, yeah, I'll be back in Portland in time for the Summer Beer Festival. Don't worry.
I wasn't worried about the beer festival. I was thinking if you're going to be on the road next week during the show.
And the Tesla factory tour, do you have to have reservations, or can you just show up?
No, you have to make reservations, and they book up weeks in advance.
Wow.
And you currently have to be an owner to even schedule a tour.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yep.
I did tour the former Numi factory there before it shut down and Toyota sold it for 10 cents or whatever. It was pretty impressive then. I'm sure it's very impressive now.
Yeah, same place, new owner.
Yep.
And Toyota swapped it for Tesla stock, which then did really well. So,
Right.
And they've sold most of it. So they made more than their money's worth for selling that factory.
Still,
Yeah.
It was a good piece of land in a good area with talented people available to build new generation cars. And
Right. So yeah, it worked out for both of them.
Yep.
Toyota got paid well, and Tesla got what they needed.
Yep.
There you go. You got to love that. Well,
Yeah.
Patrick, thanks again for calling in, dude. It's always
Sure.
good to
See
see
you
you,
guys.
and especially under such cool circumstances. I am a little disappointed you're not in your She-Hulk outfit now, though.
I'll try to do better next time.
Yeah, exactly. We've set a goal. I expect you to hit it. Okay.
All right, Russell. Thanks. See you guys.
See ya.
Easy, dude.
Safe travels.
Safe. Yeah, drive safe. That, ladies and gentlemen, right down there. No, right down there. That guy. Patrick Connor. Yes, our own Tesla Model X owner from Portland, driving to San Diego Comic-Con live on the show. Now, wasn't that exciting?
Man, how does that stuff happen?
Yeah,
Pretty magical.
It's the miracle of technology. Well, speaking of the miracle of technology, there's an autonomous driving company, a startup called Nauto, Nauto. News is today that GM, BMW, and Toyota all investing in Nauto today. Interestingly enough, Nauto isn't like, autonomous driving is sort of a big umbrella that covers a lot of things. And Nauto specializes in autonomous driving for level 3 and 4. Now, there's different levels of autonomous driving. And the critical parts in levels 3 and 4, the lower levels of autonomous driving, are making sure the car knows when to be in charge. So the Nauto system is a two-way system that monitors not only what's going on outside, but what's going on inside, using facial recognition to know when you're paying attention to the road and when you're not, and when it needs to take control of the car, which is an interesting, again, you think of this is all sort of one big thing, but actually it's a whole bunch of little technological disciplines kind of crammed into one concept. So it's interesting. Let me see if we can play a little video.
And so does it know if you've had too many beers and it won't let you drive?
Unfortunately, I don't think it has a beer detector. Yeah.
That'd be a good feature.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. But here's you can see there's somebody texting in front of the wheel and they're distracted. And the computer knows that because it's tracking your eyes, it's tracking what's going on. And then it's taking control of the vehicle, allegedly, and keeping you safe while watching the vehicles on the road. And the other camera, it's identified cars by putting boxes around them. So you know, I mean, on one level, this is fantastic and it's fun and it's cool. On the other level, I almost like I have to question the investment. Are we pumping millions?
It's probably these guys have patents on the stuff, and that's the way to get around that patent potential lawsuit, to just buy the company, invest in it. Yeah.
Well,
instead of paying a huge licensing fee, they've become an owner of the company. They probably get a deal on using the technology.
They can make their own deal with themselves to use the technology,
right,
since they own part of it. Sure.
Yeah.
That makes good sense. I mean, you look at hybrid technology and what companies have deployed, and certainly the companies that got in there first, for the most part, we're going to leave Honda out of that for a second. Toyota had the big lead in that, and probably still does when it comes to hybrid vehicles. Right. So, something I'm learning right now, of which I'm not going to speak of more. So yeah, that's not all. And for the next story, let's go to our friend. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Paul, I think. Or is this Mark? Help me. I forgot.
No, it's me.
Story?
We're talking about the Fremont factory, Tesla.
Oh, that's me.
Paul Guzik, take it away. And I'm going to put some pictures up so that people can watch while you're talking.
Yeah, so we were just talking about the Tesla factory in Fremont, California, which formerly was the NUMMI joint venture factory between Toyota and GM. But what's interesting is they are doing a big-ass expansion of that factory. And Russell's got it on the screen here.
There it is.
So I guess Tesla's ramping up to, crank out those Model 3s. And they only have one factory right now for cars. And it's in a great location in the East Bay of California, the Bay Area. And I guess they got permits and construction going on and doing a nice expansion of that facility. Now, it doesn't say anything about employee parking expansion, which we've covered in the past, but that's awesome. And I think there's another story this week about Tesla building more gigafactories for batteries in the future, which is cool as well.
Yeah.
So,
as you notice, Paul, the close-up picture here, it shows a kind of an interesting looking building, right?
Yeah, it's a multi-high-rise.
It's looking like racks. It's scaffolding.
But is that the permanent structure or just to build it?
No. Russell has dug this up.
Here's the company that's doing the construction, and what they specialize in is in making automated robotic parts storage.
So maybe it's like a pick and play warehouse facility.
Exactly correct. That's what we surmise, at least.
Yep.
This is a stop motion video of the company building another structure that looks eerily similar.
Yeah. Okay.
Just filled with lattice.
So they can just have all their parts all stacked, and the robots will go retrieve them and bring them to the production line. And
here's a view inside a finished warehouse with the parts robots. Go. Right. There's a truck. We don't care about the truck.
They are sending the batteries down the hill from Reno, so they'll have to put them somewhere until they put them into cars, and maybe that's where they'll stack them.
Elon loves robots. He can have a whole warehouse full of robots now.
Well, they don't complain, and they don't need time off. And
they work in the dark.
They work 24/7. They don't need to go to the bathroom.
Some of them do. Some of them do. That's what I hear.
The burrito-powered ones do.
Yeah, the burrito-powered ones do.
Yeah. And then, of course, from the Tesla live show that we did previously, we surmised that maybe the 23rd hour of the day they break into robot fighting.
They have robot wars on the floor.
Yes, robot
it's like Fight Club for robots.
Exactly.
But you never hear about it because it doesn't exist.
No one talks about it, at least. That's
except us.
Yeah, and you see them offloading, and the stuff goes up in the stacks, and then it goes. It's amazing, and it's efficient, and it doesn't have to be 2 inches wider than it needs to be.
Right.
You know, there's no safety margin. There's no room for humans. It's a really good idea. And, you know, we've talked on the show a lot about how they don't have room for more employees, how there's no damn employee parking. How is Tesla going to ramp up to make the Model 3 production commitments that they made? And I think this looks like one way to do it.
Yep.
Very cool.
Great story. Yeah. I mean, I love this story. And, you know, if you love Tesla stuff, we do, Mark and I do this thing called the Tesla Life, and you can watch us do this show. Just search the Tesla Life on YouTube and look for our shiny red logo, and we'll be there talking about Tesla every week. So, yeah. Speaking of Mark, I think Mark has the next story.
Yeah. There seems to be a little bit of a miscalculation on Hyundai's side that their new Ioniq platform that was just released at the beginning of the year, it has 3 different types of cars. It's got a full electric car, it's got a plug-in hybrid, and it has a plug-in hybrid. What they have found is that the sales of electric cars have gone through the roof, and they don't have enough cars to go around. So there is a shortage in car production. And when you get right down to it, as Paul mentioned, the real problem is the batteries themselves. Because they have, of course, outsourced to get their batteries. And in this case, they've outsourced to LG. And LG has, given them a number of battery packs that they'd be able to supply within that given time period. And Hyundai has run through that amount and has more customers sitting in the sidelines waiting for more to show up. So
I wonder if Elon would sell some Gigafactory batteries.
You know, there's probably a slim chance in hell in that happening, but because Elon needs all the batteries he can get. Yeah. But the number was kind of initially low. It's somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 battery packs. So they were not betting on a high amount of the full electric Ioniq to roll out the door. And apparently, they've been proven they were wrong because now they've got waiting lists and people trying to get these cars. And of course, LG is constrained because, of course, LG is not just the Hyundai battery pack people. They make battery packs for GM and others that they have full contracts rolling out, and they're constrained by all the product that they're pushing out. So they got nothing extra to give Hyundai. And now Hyundai is at this spot where they don't have another OEM to go to.
Well, isn't that Ioniq?
Show title. Show title. That is awesome. Well, that was great.
I think I should get a check from Hyundai for that, though. I'm just thinking. Can I rant? Because that's what I do. But doesn't this put to shame the whole we don't think people want EVs. We're not going to deploy them. And yet constantly Prius Prime, Ioniq, Bolt. We keep hearing about these car companies that can't make enough cars to satisfy demand. So I don't get that.
Is the tide changing?
Prius Prime, I have a little story about a Prius Prime I'd like to share. So, as we've talked about on the show in the past, the Prius Prime is a 50-state car, but for some reason it isn't readily available in all 50 states. And ironically, in Colorado, which has the highest rebate of any state for plug-in cars, they're very hard to get still, and people want them here. So a customer told me actually just today that he wanted a Prius Prime. He went on cars.com, found the one he wanted, the trim level, the color, and it was in Portland, Oregon, Patrick Connertown. And he called them up. They said, yeah, it's here. Come up. You can buy it. You can drive it home. And not only that, there was a $1,500 incentive on it, which meant it was $1,500 below list price, where some sleazy dealers are trying to charge higher than list price. Luckily, my customer was smart enough to do a screen capture and print out the website, because when he got up to the dealership in the Portland area, they said, oh, yeah, that's not eligible on the Prime. That's other Toyota products. And he whipped out his hard copy printout, and the sales manager said, well, I guess you're going to get it then. So the moral of the story is, if you want a Prime, they exist. Do a little search on cars.com or one of the popular automotive sites. Call the dealer, make sure it's real, get the guy's name. And if there's a price listed, print it out. So in case they try to pull some funny business on you when you get there, you can show them, hey, you guys got to honor this price. But they do exist, and you can buy them. You just may have to travel. So, and you can get them below list price, which is great to hear if you're willing to do a little work.
That's a great story. So how far of a travel is that to Portland from Denver area?
It's about 1,000 miles.
About 1,000 miles.
So it's going to cost them $60 in gas or something, you know. So plus you know, a flight.
Plus the flight out there.
Yeah, but in this, you know, you can get a flight on Southwest for probably $100. So, so for him, it was worthwhile to get it now than have to wait till they show up in Colorado, because there's a waiting list in Colorado. And
he gets a cool road trip. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
And he said he visited a friend up in that part of the country that he hadn't seen for a while. So, yeah, it's all good. But, you know, if your local dealer says the Prime doesn't exist, or they're not making them, or they're sold out for 6 months, shop around, cast a wider net. You can find them.
Yeah. That's what a lot of EV owners have to do, is if you're after that car that is popular, that is low in volume, they are out there. Just
and there's some dealer that had to take one for allocation reasons, who's in Oklahoma, where no one's going to buy it, and if you call them up, they're happy to sell it to you, or whatever state where they are not that popular.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, the next story is a really serious one, but I thought it was one that was worth mentioning, because we don't just limit ourselves just to cars. We talk about energy and environmental issues. And I read this in The Guardian, and it really had an impact on me. So I want to mention it here at least, and show everybody what's going on here. In The Guardian, it was 98 environmental, is that the headline, have been killed so far in 2017. These are activists all around the world that have been killed or died mysteriously while trying to protect things like lakes and lands from mining and all sorts of different things. This is the list. Wow. It's on the screen now of all the people who have died this year and where. And this is a serious thing. You notice that there's not a lot of it happening in the United States, which is really nice, although we've seen protesters trying to protect their thing. For instance, the Dakota pipeline people who risked their lives and got pepper sprayed and chemical sprayed and freezing water, you know, to try and protect their land. This is a serious issue, and it's not something that just takes places in courts and boardrooms. Sometimes it takes place in sad little fields where people get killed and buried and never seen again. People that are brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers that, you know, are just trying to stand up to keep their land safe for their next generation. So,
and so are we theorizing big oil's behind all the hits?
No. I mean, I don't, you know, big oil, big mining, big who knows what, you know, our corporate interests behind it. Well, of course they're not.
Right.
Upstanding companies don't pay to have people killed.
The Russians are behind it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
there's a lot going on in Brazil.
Yeah, this is a map of where the deaths have taken place.
Well, isn't Brazil one of the most corrupt countries right now?
Well, you know, the Philippines is doing pretty good given its size, too.
Yeah. Wow.
And what's up with Long Island?
I don't know. You know, it's you know, there's 33 deaths linked to mining, 23 deaths linked to logging, 23 deaths poaching, or 18 poaching, 23. So, I mean, this is serious. These are people dying, trying to save our environment. They're not saving the earth. They're trying to save people. They're trying to save things for us so that we can live.
Sorry, interruption. Speaking of saving the Earth, I just saw that sequel environmentalist movie. I think it's the Inconvenient sequel or something's coming out next week.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, so Al Gore's sequel.
Yeah, and it's the trailer looks interesting. So check it out. It will be at select cinemas about a week from now.
All right.
I think it's called the Inconvenient sequel. I guess
that would make sense.
Someone should Google it.
Yeah. But, someone should
interrupt you, but I think it's an important thing to talk about these days with the EPA going away and things like that.
I think that's a good. I'm always up for good interruptions, Paul. Yeah. Our final story tonight. It comes from Electrek, and they're reporting that. And I use the word reportedly. Lucid Motors is reportedly in talks with Ford for a takeover of the EV startup. We've talked a little bit about Lucid. They make a nice big 4-seater, very, very fast car, already clocked at 235 miles an hour on a track. The Lucid Air is the vehicle. My question in this isn't so much anything to do with Lucid. Why does Ford want to buy an EV startup when they can't even, they've got an EV, but they just don't make it and sell it? So why did they're just, again, is this just to buy up patents?
Could be. That's certainly an option for them, but you're right. They haven't been too interested in it to this point. Why get involved with a high-priced one?
Well, I mean, I guess they just have money to blow. I don't know. Lucid, according to the report, is trying to raise $700 million to build a plant to make their vehicle. Unlike Faraday Future,
I was going to say there's a piece of land in North Las Vegas they could probably get pretty cheap.
Yeah,
complete with bobcats.
Already cleaned.
Already clean. Yeah, no brush. Coincidentally, or somewhat geographically co-located, Lucid announced they were going to build a factory in Arizona in November of 2016. But nothing's going on there. And to Lucid's credit, they haven't been hyping their factory or a Bobcat rodeo or a drive up Pikes Peak or anything else. They've just been quietly working on their vehicle, releasing some stuff here and there, and doing a pretty good job, according to all reports. It's been good watching them, and I wish them nothing but success. I almost don't want this Ford thing to happen because I'm afraid we'll never see the car.
You think they might just buy it to bury it?
I mean, again, where's the Focus EV? What did they sell last month? 30?
12.
Yeah. I mean, something really like 2 digits. Ridiculous. Right. This is Ford's big. Ford's been really actually pretty honest that they like making trucks and they don't have that much interest in making EVs. And I think that's been demonstrated by their actions. Every once in a while, they want to put on a halo and talk about, how green they are, but they don't really do much about it.
Typically at auto shows.
Yeah, sure. Right. Sure. Yeah, when the press is around and then it's like, we're going to make more F-150s. Woo! And the stock goes up. Hey, whatever keeps them. I don't want them to go out of business.
Right.
But again, here's the Hyundai with the Ioniq. We can't, there's more demand than we can physically get parts to make this vehicle.
Right.
But nobody wants them. Yeah.
Curiouser
and curiouser, said Alice. Very odd. So that's all I got this week. Paul, you've been a font of anything else going on?
No, I think that's good for this week. I will give a shout out to myself. My business, Boulder Hybrids, boulderhc.com. We fix and repair hybrids and EVs in the Denver, Boulder area, and if you're in the mountain states, we'll help you out with your car. And if you're far away, get the AAA Plus membership, where you can get a 200-mile tow for free. And get your car
there you go, yeah.
Catastrophically great, because we do get people from far off in the mountain parts of the state, or Cheyenne, Wyoming, or somewhere within 200 miles they can get their car towed here for free and save lots of money from getting it fixed at their local dealer. So,
and Paul's definitely the man you want working on your car. No doubt. Mr. Coughlin, I bet you have a shout out or two.
Just a couple. Say hello to the Waterloo Region Volt Tech Group as well as the Waterloo Region EVA. We've got some upcoming events through the summer. Feel free to follow us at our link at Twitter, WR Voltech or WR EVA Group, which are down here on my green bar. So, and a little bit of a Volt milestone for myself. As some of you know, I have a second generation Volt that I've been driving like crazy because it's so fun to drive. I've going to show a screen here. This is Volt stats that an owner can participate in if they wish. And it uses OnStar to update and send information to this website twice a day and tracks your efficiency and how far you've driven and all that kind of cool stuff.
What the F? Is that 1,000 miles per gallon?
That is 1,000 miles per gallon.
Holy cow.
In my Volt.
Gold star for Mark.
So don't let anyone tell you that a Volt can't get you around town and save you a ton of money on fuel, because I am the living proof. In fact, I've driven 5,100 EV miles without gas at all.
Wow.
1,000 miles per gallon only gets you to a number 125 ranking?
That's right. Out of 3,200 or 3,300 people.
Wow. I mean, that's an impressive ranking, but damn.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude.
And you just basically say, I want to participate, and your car squirts all this into the cloud, and you can look at it on the internet.
You just put in your OnStar password into VoltStats, and it connects to it and starts feeding it at that point. And it's, there's other mapping features. You can see other Volt drivers around you all over the country if you wish. You can zoom down, and it shows different colors for how efficient they are. So a lighter green means they're more efficient, and so forth.
And when did you buy this second-gen Volt?
I bought it about 10 weeks ago.
And have you put any gas in it since you bought it?
No, none.
Cool.
The dealer gave me a full tank, Paul, and
sweet.
It hasn't moved the needle since I bought it.
That's awesome.
So anyone out there, if you're looking for something that'll burn very little fuel, the Volt will fit that bill without an issue.
Right.
Wow. That's impressive, Mark. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, I know you're not trying to do anything. You're just driving it.
No, it's an education thing. I'm just trying to show people that these options exist, and with cars like the Volt, you can use it as a regular car. You can drive across the country on fuel, but you also have that ability to use it in EV mode for the vast majority of time.
F you, big oil.
No, back to big oil, dude. Look out.
Let's see. Mark on the deceased list of.
I'm going to show up on some list somewhere. Yeah, thanks, Paul.
That makes me sad. I want to announce that we have a very special show coming up on July 28th, 7 p.m. Pacific. That's Friday, July 28th, 7 p.m. Pacific. Join us. And I don't know exactly who's going to be there. I can guarantee Mark and I are going to be there. Maybe Paul. Maybe Tony. Maybe Evan. Maybe even
Patrick
Dan Cooper. Maybe.
What?
I talked to him today.
DC? Are you serious?
I don't know. I'm not making any commitments.
I heard he's gone into the unicorn category. He's a mythical creature.
Much more mythical than the unicorn, believe me. But suffice to say, July 28th, 7 p.m., you're wondering, what, Russell? We are live streaming the Tesla Model 3 delivery event, which starts at 7 p.m. Pacific and goes until God knows when. We will be here the whole time, talking about it, watching it with you, going through details on it, digging into some background. You definitely want to join us for that. So mark it on your calendars now, please. Friday, July 28th at 7 p.m. Pacific. You also want to subscribe to us on YouTube, because then you get notified automatically when we put that stream up. Follow us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. On Twitter, oddly enough, we're on Twitter at What Drives Us, all one word, no silliness. So we'll post there too. Obviously, this is sort of a co-production with our other show, The Tesla Life, but it's obviously a big event. It's going
to be huge.
It's going to be huge. Not to invoke I'm not even going there, but it's going to be huge, and it's certainly not the first mass market EV, but it's the most anticipated one.
Well, it's the one that's gotten the most orders for.
Yeah, it's the one that it has the most pre-orders for.
Yep.
So this is definitely an historical moment.
Yep.
I don't think calling it that is an exaggeration in any way. And we want to share that moment with you. Come on, be in the chat room with us, ask us questions, fire comments at us. It's all good. We're all there. We love that. Of course, I've been too busy to monitor the chat room tonight. My apologies to those of you that are in there. Let's see. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. You can download all our shows, stream them in audio or video format at whatdrives.us. We also have articles published there. That's whatdrives.us. Gentlemen, thank you for an amazing show this week. I appreciate it. Paul, Mark.
Thanks, Russell.
Cheers, guys. And to all of you, each and every one of you who watch and or listen to the show, we do it for you. So thanks very much for being there for us every week. This week I'm driving the Kia Niro. Next week it's the Mazda CX-5. The reviews are coming out like crazy. It's going to be fun. As I said, in August, I have about a week and a half with the Toyota Mirai hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, and I can't wait to do that review.
Neither can I.
Oh, the unicorns are going to be dropping like flies, baby. I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited for this car. So I'm looking forward to it. So thanks to all of you. Join us next week and find out what drives us. See you next week.